Hello Gemini, welcome back to my channel. This is Nayanda back again to give you your horoscope for the month of January. Excuse me. As an ode to Dionysus, let's go ahead and get right into it. This is going to apply for Gemini placements, but very specifically for Gemini risings. So if you do know your rising sign, this is probably going to be a little bit more helpful for you. However, I have found that individuals that have Gemini in their big three, their sun and their moon as well, also tend to have a good time or resonate with these messages as well. So don't feel like if you don't know your rising sign, that you were exempt from this reading working for you. You can feel free to go to your sun sign or your moon sign. I'm encouraging everybody to do all three, but the best reading you're gonna get with this kind of thing is going to be from your rising sign. But maybe I shouldn't make such a grandiose statement. But anyways, Geminis, we're going to be getting right into your horoscope for January. Welcome to Capricorn season, baby. It's my season. Say happy birthday to me. You know I'm your favorite. I know I'm your favorite. But anyways, so we're going to get right into your horoscope for the month of January. So for my Gemini risings, immediately when I started doing your horoscope, I heard intercepted. So I'm not exactly sure what that has to do with. I'm not sure if you are playing football right now. I'm not sure if you were trying to get somewhere and something unexpected might intercept you on your way there. There's a lot of different, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Are you congested? That came out of nowhere. Are you congested? Something in your nose? But anyway, that came out of nowhere. But anyway, so Gemini rising, we're going to get right into it. So as of right now, like I said, it's Capricorn season, but Mercury is currently retrograde in your 7th house of marriage and partnerships. So what that ends up doing, oh, where's my music? Yikes. So when Mercury goes retrograde in a house, what that typically does, and of course you are a Gemini rising, right? Or wherever you have Gemini placements, but I'm going to continuously say Gemini rising in this video because that's technically who I'm addressing. With the South Node currently being in the collectives, 7th house of marriage and partnerships, and then with Mercury currently being retrograde up until New Year's Day in your house of marriage and partnerships, you could be reflecting on either if you are currently married about something going on between you and your spouse, whether things are going well or whether they're not, whether the relationship fits you or whether it doesn't. This could also lead to more arguments in the arena of, and like I said, the 7th house is the house of marriage. But it's not only the house of marriage, it's also the house of like interpersonal relationships one-on-one between you and me. So this could also manifest in maybe some communicative issues between yourself and your spouse, yourself and your friends and family members and stuff like that. Definitely with Mercury ruling Gemini, I would highly encourage to be very careful with the things that you think and say at this time, because Geminis and Virgos are typically affected a little bit more strongly during these types of transits, and that's because you're ruled by Mercury, right? But yes, this could also manifest itself in maybe like ex-spouses or exes coming back into the picture and trying to start conversations with you again. This could also manifest itself as maybe you trying to go back to an ex and trying to get back on good terms with these individuals. There's in the month of December and January, there was a theme around relationships, very specifically like commitments and contracts and stuff like that. So definitely if you're considering getting into a contract or something that is legally binding, Gemini, I would definitely make sure that you are reading the details and make sure that you're paying attention to everything. Right now, it's probably not advisable to get into any binding agreements or binding relationships or anything like that. You could find yourself having hiccups in that general vicinity up until about January 1st, okay? Now starting today, because today is the beginning of Capricorn season. I love Capricorn season. There's an air of logic. I just love it. But anyways, so the sun, okay, so January is going to be really heavy for you, Gemini. I will say that. And that's because you have a stellium moving into your 8th house. So when I say a stellium, that means 3 or more planets. So we have the sun, We have Mars, and we have Mercury, and we also have a new moon. So there's going to be a lot pertaining to, so the 8th house represents shared finances, for example. So with all of these energies going into your 8th house, it could potentially mean that there might be the theme of like shared finances, whether that mean you paying somebody, somebody paying you. This, with Capricorn being in the 8th house, Gemini, what that essentially says is that for those who are Gemini risings, it beckons that you be very responsible when it comes to your shared finances. Does that make sense? So it's like wherever Capricorn energy is, you're required to be very structured and very responsible. Also, Capricorns, this is a fun fact about astrology, Capricorns get karma quicker than other signs, but also other signs get karma quicker for messing with Capricorns. Fun fact. So my point when I'm bringing that up is that when it comes to people with Saturnian placements, wherever Capricorn is found, it is detrimental for you to show responsibility and consistency in that arena, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is the lord of karma, responsibility. It's also represented as the devil card in tarot, which essentially means all of those deep, dark issues that bind us, but we kind of step into it voluntarily. Does that make sense? So with that having been said, there could be something pertaining to, I'm hearing an addiction, quite possibly. Maybe a lot of money might have been going to somebody that you might have been paying money to, might have been funneling that into an addiction. Ooh, that's really bad. For some people, this could also pertain to daddy issues, maybe like when it comes to like child support, or because Capricorn is also the dad. So it's like, yeah, child support is a really big one, especially trying to like get something to be a little bit more structured in terms of like shared finances between you and another individual. Of course, with Mercury being retrograde in your 7th house, this could be pertaining to like a spouse or an ex-spouse, or like a partner. You and that person are now discussing how you're going to be dividing up either property, assets, or even just paying bills together. That aspect is coming through here as well. I do see that there will be some sort of desire to rush something in the month of January when it does come to your shared resources. Also for others of you with, because Pluto is currently in that house for you, and it'll be in the 8th house up until January 20th. So this could also pertain to secrets either about you or about other people coming out in very abrupt and almost uncomfortable, violent ways. Because the 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, and Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. But Pluto is very much about, it is a regenerative planet. And when I say regenerative, that means that Pluto represents the underworld. Pluto comes and just fucks everything up. It fucks everything up so that it can be reborn again. And I'm getting something here about maybe a secret coming out, Geminis, that ends up destroying something for you or destroying something for somebody else. It could even be a secret that comes out that destroys somebody's shared resources. So for some of you guys, like I said, with that Mercury in retrograde, it could be that you come to find out that a partner was cheating on you, or maybe that you were a third party in a situation. I am going to get into that because we do have some transits going through your 12th house. But we're going to get into that in a second. But this could also manifest itself as like you realizing that like a friend was not as loyal to you as you thought that they were, or that a spouse or a partner was not as loyal to you as you thought that they were. Or this could also manifest itself as like you gaining more money from a divorce than like your ex-partner did, or something like that. There's something really heavy about a big secret coming out that totally just destroys how either you view someone or how somebody views you, okay? Place yourself where it belongs, because once again, we're not all saints here, okay? Life is all about learning lessons. I tell everybody that. That's the reason why I don't get too, we get emotional about things, but ultimately it's best to just come back to self and to assess life according to what you can do and not what other people are doing. And that's a big lesson, I think, for Gemini placements too. We do have on January 12th, Juno going retrograde in your 4th house. So there's something about your relationship to your mother, or something that your mother has taught you about your commitments. And I'm very specifically like marriage, stuff like that, okay? Your mother could have been a Virgo. That's funny. Your mother could be a Virgo. that information is also here too. But there's something about a wounded feminine energy that I'm seeing here. Some of you guys might have issues, like for example, maybe your mother was forced to be very independent and your dad was not around, so that might have encouraged some sense of like self-sufficiency, but almost to a fault in you, where it's like you don't like to accept help, or you don't trust men, or maybe you're kind of negative when it comes to, but I don't really see that with a Sagittarius 7th house, but it could be because mutable signs, so you're a mutable sign, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Virgo are all mutable signs. And what ends up happening with mutable signs is that mutable signs are like sponges, okay? Typically, mutable signs, it's really hard to figure them out because they typically are always molding themselves to be whatever other people are around them, or whatever it is that they think they need to be to fit in. Now, when mutable signs are like high vibing, they can use that in a good way. So for example, I'm a Pisces moon, right? Pompous to call myself high vibing, but let's just keep it a bean. I'm not that bad of a person. But a lot of people say that they have a hard time finding out how it is that I feel, simply because the way that I express myself is very, no matter what it is that I'm saying, I can be a dick sometimes, yes, but for the most part, I'm really good at connecting with people emotionally, to a point where it's like, some people have a hard time gauging how I truly feel or what I truly think, for the simple fact that I'm so good at empathizing with other people that sometimes it's unsettling, because then it's kind of like okay, wait, is she being for real right now, or is she bullshitting me, or is it da-da-da-da-da? Like, I've had a lot of people like get really unsettled when it comes to me. And of course, when it comes with mutable signs, there's always this sense of feeling unsettled in oneself, because you're so adept to molding that sometimes there's a likelihood that you could lose yourself in whatever role it is that you're playing. And I'm somebody that firmly believes that it's a good thing to be able to adapt. Like I said, I have a mutable moon, okay? So it's a good thing to be able to adapt in how you think and how you feel. But make sure that you're not just adapting for the sake of fitting in. Because with the 4th house in Virgo, Virgo is a servant sign, okay? I don't mean that to sound insulting for all my Virgos. I love you guys so much, but it just is what it is. And what ends up happening is a lot of Virgos end up losing themselves just by getting way too involved in other people's problems, way too lost in the details, or way too in something. Virgo can kind of become very codependent, almost stagnating themselves to a certain degree, because they'll get so invested or so lost that they can't differentiate themselves from other people. That is a very big mutable issue. And I can, like I said, my big three are all three of the modalities, but I can definitely tell you that as a Pisces moon, I have actively been thwarting off thoughts that I know are projected from other people, or you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. So that could be something where it comes down to you and your relationships. Maybe you might find yourself trying too hard to be somebody that you're not, and that might be making it hard for you when it comes to your interpersonal relationships to get close to people. Simply because it's like you'll hear somebody might be into something that you might deem like, excuse me, higher class or something like that, or something. Of course, Geminis, I love you guys to death. You and Sagittarians are so obsessed with trying to sound like the smartest person in the room. Even if you don't know what you're talking about, I'm saying that lovingly. I'm saying it lovingly. I'm sorry. I know a lot of Geminis that be talking, but don't be talking about nothing, baby. You don't be saying shit, just a lot of words. And it's funny because, like I've said, it's hilarious. And also, to be fair, with this 8th house energy, it could also be you learning about occultism, or it could be somebody suffering from the aftermath of some sort of magic or something that they put out, now destroying their finances. There's a lot of different ways that I could take this with you, Gemini, because I am a mystic. So some of you guys that watch this channel are not mystics. So it's like when I go into that whole spell work talk, it's like, what are you talking about? I'll give you an example outside of spell work. Some of you guys could be really struggling with your self-esteem, right? And it's like maybe you're struggling with your self-esteem, so you're trying to find a place to put it on somebody else. And in you trying to project your own issues onto another person, shit starts falling apart in your own life, okay? And shit starts falling apart in your own life because you are projecting and sending energy toward an innocent person. Does that make sense? So it's stuff like that. But anyways, I did hear channeled commitment issues stemming from foundation. I'm hearing something about a wounded feminine energy. And it goes back to that Juno going retrograde. So some of you guys might be actually having to go back and address either some mommy issues or maybe some issues that stem from your mother, stuff that your mother might have taught you. Maybe your mother had really bad boundary problems. There's something about not seeing the big picture enough to be able to make solid decisions in your life. It's like something like that. It's like you get so lost in the idea of something in the month of January, that it's kind of hard to come back up for air. And it's like you have to remind yourself, especially because there's going to be a lot of, I'm hearing information coming out, just information overload. Maybe there's like a lot of secrets that might come out in regards to like a partner or your friendships or something like that, that might be leaving you feeling very unsettled in the month of January. But all of this is happening, excuse me, so that you can heal yourself, because there's no place to go but up when you hit rock bottom. This wine is hitting me. There's no place to go but up, but to be able to go up, you got to hit rock bottom first. And I'm kind of seeing that energy here for you, Gemini, especially because of that stellium, like 4 planets just zooming through your 8th house. For some of you guys, you could be dealing with some fertility issues. I did have that come through for Cancer as well. Yeah, for you very specifically, Gemini, there could be some issues surrounding addictions. So like maybe somebody that you're close to, or maybe you, and we don't judge here, might be struggling with an addiction of some sort. For others of you, I'm hearing with the law, somebody here might do, and like I said, there's no judgment here. This needs to be 18 plus. Some of you guys might be sex workers. I'm just going to put it out there. It's a reality. Some of you guys might be sex workers. And with that having been said, there could be an issue surrounding like an STD or something like that coming up in the month of January. Or if not, just be very careful when you're sleeping with people or when you're having connections with people, because you or somebody that you might be connecting with might have an STD, and it could be a very serious one. I'm just getting that out of the way. That is here as well. I am kind of seeing that. For others of you, this could manifest itself as actual fertility problems. It's like you might find out that you have like endometriosis, or you might find out that you have something with your follicular phase. I don't know. I just heard that randomly. But there's something going on with your fertility that is of concern that might need to be handled in the month of January as well. For others of you, it's simply a change coming. Maybe you might lose a job, or maybe you might not be getting money back from somebody, or maybe you might be getting a fuck ton of money back from somebody. Especially if you're going through like a divorce or something like that. It could end up that your ex-spouse ends up on the shorter end of the stick. On January 15th, we have Saturn making a semi-square. Saturn in your 10th house of career making a semi-square in the north node that is currently in your 11th house. I'm hearing something about being embarrassed. Something might happen in your career that might cause an argument with your friend groups around in January as well. So Saturn is currently in your 10th house of career, and it's in Pisces. And when Saturn is in Pisces, Saturn struggles a little bit because Pisces struggles with focus, right? Making a semi-square with the 11th house, though, it might even manifest itself as experiencing blockages in your career due to issues with your friend groups or issues with the greater community. It's kind of like something could be happening where it's like you're trying really hard to be seen for something or to be seen as something, and it's just not happening. Specifically in your career, you could be trying to come across as like a leader or trying to express yourself as like a leader position, but it's like there's restrictions that are happening. And like I said, with this, it could even manifest itself as like you're having a really hard time in your career just because you can't get funding. You can't afford something. Like if you have your own business, maybe business is slow. Customers aren't coming through. You're not getting a return for your investment in the month of January. And I'm hearing something about embarrassment. Like that could really embarrass you. Don't take it personally, Gemini. Yeah. It's almost kind of like you have this issue with wanting to fit in, but you're supposed to stand out, especially when it comes with your friends, okay? And talking about the North Node being in your 11th house, that would mean that the South Node, let me see, so my 5th house is in Pisces. So some of you guys might be experiencing restrictions in your career because you're not being a leader. That could be coming up as well. It could be like maybe you're coming up with these projects or these ideas, but you're limiting yourself in them. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like you could have this massive fucking idea. Okay, massive idea. But with Libra in the 5th house and the South Node being there, it's almost kind of like you're playing it too safe when it comes to your creative endeavors. It's like, this could even be like in fashion. Fifth house in Libra, you could be like into fashion. You could be into something, I don't know, luxurious or some shit like that, but it's not working for you anymore. So it's kind of like you could be trying to express yourself in a specific way, and it's just not being received. I do see that energy here too, Gemini. It's just not being received. And the reason why it's not being perceived, maybe people aren't even looking at it. It's because you're trying too hard to fit in, and that's going to be a struggle for you. And that could also be that 8th house energy of maybe some really dark feelings that you just don't feel good about yourself, that maybe you've been trying to pawn off on maybe like fashion or fun, because the 5th house in Libra, right? Trying to fit in or trying to dress like this or talking like these people. Because I kept saying, Gemini, there's something about you trying too hard to be something that you're not, or trying too hard to fit in with a specific crowd, and that's not your place. You don't belong in that crowd, or that's not your thing. Like it could be like you could be pretending to be with that 5th house in Libra, right? Because Libra is all about extravagance. It's like you could be pretending, I'm trying to think of an example, pretending to be into classical music, and you're not into fucking classical music. You don't know shit about classical music, but these people around you are talking about classical music. So I'm just going to do a quick Google search, and then I'm just going to go in on a bunch of random facts so I can fit in. And it's like, maybe you thought you were coming across as like smart, but people are looking at you like, wow, you're really trying really hard, but you're not really saying anything. It's like some energy like that. Or it's like, for example, the 8th houses of occultism, right? Maybe you really want to be perceived, this is for my sister. Maybe you really want to be perceived as a powerful witch. I can't stand those people. I'm sorry. As a powerful witch. And it's like you're coming into a community of people who are true like mystics, or truly about that life, and you're coming in and you're talking about like some really like shallow Googled like oh yeah, you know, like it's like trying really hard, and people can sense it. It's just kind of like and they might not be telling you that right away, and that could be the issue or the struggle. It's like you could have been putting all this energy into trying to fit in with some people, and they're just not responding, or they're just not looking at you, or they're just not for the shit. They're just not for it. And it hurts, right? Like that has to hurt, because it's like you're trying really hard to get people to like you, and it's just not working, and they're not liking you because you're not being you. Does that make sense? It's like there's something about trying really hard to present yourself as something that you're not, and facing rejection for it. But all of that is for your best interest, Gemini, because you're supposed to be a leader, especially with the North Node in the 11th house. You're supposed to stand out from the people that you're surrounded. You're supposed to be trailblazing when it comes to this, especially in the social sphere, because the 11th house is ruled by Aquarius. This could even be like, yeah, it's like really big about being yourself, because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Saturn as well. But Aquarius is that I'm gonna dress how I want, and I'm gonna do what I want, and I'm gonna stand up for what I believe in, whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, I won't be around you. And Aquarius has no fucking issue. I know, because I have Aquarius placements too. No issue just not fucking with you. You don't see what I see? Okay, cool. I'm just not going to be here anymore. Bye! That's Capricorns and Aquarians for you. We're just like, oh, you don't like it? Okay, you got to be here. And that's really all it is. Because the North Node in your 11th house is really pushing you to be a leader, or to be individual, or something like that. But there's this desire to play small. And it's funny because in playing small, you're trying to play extravagant at the same time. So especially with that South Node in the 5th house, this could even be like people pleasing in like your dating relationships. Does that make sense? Because the 5th house is house of dating and pleasure as well. This could even manifest itself as like you getting with people, because Libra is a social climber. I'm sorry, it just is what it is. You getting with people simply for where they can get you. Does that make sense? And it's like, you're doing things, like you could be dating people that have more money than you, or dating people that hang out in certain social spheres, and like you're really trying to fit in, like you're really trying to get in with those people so that you can be perceived like as successful instead of actually becoming successful. Does that make sense? It's just this desire to fit in, and it's just not going to work because you don't fit there. That's not who you are, and people can see it. I can't stress that enough, Gemini, is that people can see it. They can smell it on you. It's like it's giving inauthentic. It's giving fake, right? And there's a need to stick up for yourself. There really is. Stick up for yourself and what you believe in, but not just for show. It's like you have to genuinely do it. You're not going to be blessed in any of these arenas until you do that. And the North Node is going to be in that house until about either 2025-ish. So this whole concept of like trying to fit in for the sake of fitting in, especially when it comes to pleasures, like the 5th house in Libra, you could be spending way too much fucking money on pleasures. I keep getting something about an addiction. Like somebody could be spending way too much money, like it could be a shopping addiction, or it could be too much money on like drugs and stuff like that. I just have to point that out here, okay? We are talking about pleasures in the 8th house and all of that stuff too. It's like just spending so much money just to fit in with certain people. Which is a Gemini rising, your 2nd house would be in Cancer. That's the house of the mother too. Something about your self-worth is tied to either your feminine energy or your mother. There's something really big there that needs to be explored, okay? It could even be that maybe, I don't know. We're not going to get there. Anyways, on January 20th, we have the Sun and Pluto moving from your 8th house into your 9th house. So you'll be getting a little bit of an ease up from that, but not really, because it's also going into that house of higher learning. And that's an Aquarius. There's heavy Gemini. You're going to be really uncomfortable if you're going to try to keep fitting in. You're going to get really uncomfortable, especially like come later this year. Because it's not going to work. Just definitely trailblaze. Do your own thing, baby. It's not going to work. If you're going to try to fit in with people, it's not going to work. Because Pluto is going to be in your 9th house of higher learning for 20 years. Okay? And it's in Aquarius. And Aquarius, once again, is that trailblazer, is that rebel, that humanitarian, that I'm me and you're you. You do you, I do me. I don't give a fuck what none of y'all think. It's all going there. So it could even be manifesting itself as like a big secret comes out about you, Gemini, that embarrasses you in front of a lot of people. And it's because you're not being yourself. I'm going to lose a lot of, I don't know if I have Geminis on here. I know I have at least one. You could be losing a lot of public favor or really struggling because you're not living in your truth, okay? You're not being authentic, okay? It's like, it's a lot of that. And people can start to see it, but it's for your greater good so that you can move on to something bigger than yourself and to truly live in your truth and do things that are true to you. Not just to fit in or play small, because why would you want to fit in? Why would you want to Buffalo Bill your way? I'm sorry. I just have to say it puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. Like, you can't just put on people's skin and persona to get by, Gemini. Not in this life. You need to be yourself, okay? You need to, and to be yourself, you have to love yourself, because nobody's going to be out here trying to copy other people, or trying to copy people's style, or copy people's ideas, or copy people's fucking personality. You only do that if you don't feel confident in yourself. It doesn't matter how fancy your clothes are. It doesn't matter who you're sitting next to, who you're fucking, who whatever. It doesn't matter. None of that matters if you don't like yourself. People can smell that from a mile away. You could wear the fanciest fucking clothes. I can tell somebody that doesn't like themselves from a mile away. I can tell it. I can smell it. And it's sad. It's really sad, because the world deserves to see and experience you for who you truly are. That way you can get around people that truly love you for who you are, that truly want to be around you, because, wow, I really fuck with Gemini. That's facts. I'm just going to leave that right there. January 23rd, we have Uranus going semi-sextile. Yeah. This is going to be an uncomfortable year for you, Gemini, because there's going to be a lot of dredging up of the subconscious. The 12th house, yours is ruled by Taurus, which rules money, okay? There's something here about your relationship to your mother, your relationship to feminine energy, and your relationship to money. That's a very big topic for you, at least in the month of January. But Uranus is going to be in this 12th house until 2026, okay? So there's going to be a whole revamping of your subconscious, and it's going to be very uncomfortable for you because it's going to have to come through very uncomfortable, almost embarrassing means, is what it kind of seems like. But it's all for you to learn that it's better for you to just do your own thing and to be yourself, okay? And then we have a full moon in the 3rd house on January 25th. That to me, there could be some idea that you have, or you could just be, yeah, some idea that you have that you want, to come into fruition, or there could be some thought process that you might let go of by the end of January. But Uranus is currently retrograde in the 12th house. So currently you could be considering your thought processes or something, because the 12th house is also, it's the house that's ruled by Pisces. Child. Up here fucking around with this carbonated shit. Anyways, Uranus is currently retrograde in the 12th house. It's going to go direct by January 27th. So it's like there's going to be a lot of thinking, a whole lot of thinking, especially when it comes to your relationship to money. You might not even know why you feel the way that you feel when it comes to your family, when it comes to money, when it comes to yourself. And when Uranus goes direct, there's going to be a lot more events that are going to be bringing that to your attention. Yes. So it's not 40 minutes, it's 30 minutes. Hey, okay. So anyways, I think that that's all that I have for you, Gemini. So I was going to pull a card for you, but they're super far away and I'm lazy. So I'm not going to pull a card for you because I feel like I kind of read to filth already. But I am sending you lots of love. If you would like a chart reading from me, it is going to be $100 for only an hour. And God bless you. Goddess bless. Okay, I will see you next time, Gemini. Ciao.